we see something, we're going to say, good morning. Welcome to B Cube Sunday morning. It is a wonderful Sunday, except for the sunspots on Beetlejuice.
I'll be right back.
They are hideous. In fact, you know how hideous they are. They have actually somehow seemed to impact the email systems on Earth. Hold on while and they also make me push the wrong buttons on occasion. There we go. Because I was pushing the chat button and I pushed the help button. But it has been a very interesting month. And I'd just like to send my condolences to Jim Wright. Those of you who have followed his quest as he crosses the country know that he has pictures of every third bird that has ever poked its head out of its nest between Florida and Michigan. He does that because his mother was sick, and the he recently had a family crisis, and today he posted about it that it was his mother had passed away. And any of us who've ever had that know that nothing will prepare you for it, but just um, send your condolences or just be aware and go hug your own mother because there's an old Willie Nelson song. It's a bad thing to confess to, but I like old gospel music. I think it's really some of the best music out there, even if some of it's a little corny.
I saw Willie Nelson play live, and he was fantastic. So.
Oh yeah, he does. His Unclouded Day album was just phenomenal. I don't know if he recorded the song I was thinking of, but it was "If I Could Only Hear My Mother Pray Again." Um, those of y'all from the South, or from some of the more Baptist leaning uh, thing, yeah. Now I'm sure that Clif, you've you're far more Baptist than I am, right?
Not even slightly Baptist. In
Oh,
fact, I've
no.
never been baptized, but I did live in Tennessee and in Texas. So T for Tennessee, T for Texas. Anyway, trouble with a
T
capital T.
and T
Um,
for Thelma.
yeah. So I do also want to express some of you may recall that I have had one of my many guests on Third Sunday here at B Cubed has been my friend Stephen Schwartz, Steph, who wrote professionally as Stephen, and Stephen or Steph passed away from cancer about 2-3 weeks ago, since the last Third Sunday. So I wanted to inform the community of that and say that Steph is still on recordings of this show on YouTube. You can catch their brilliance, and some of their fiction is available. And yeah.
Oh, thank you, because it's always good to remember. Um, and speaking of remembering, let's say good morning to David Brin, or Dr. Brin, as we'd like to say.
Hi, David.
Hi, guys.
Bob, I am ready with an introduction, if you want.
Oh, well, we'll get there for in just a second. I just want to
Okay.
find out what he's having for breakfast that I'm not.
I'm kind of weird. I have salads for breakfast. A little bit of
There ain't
cereal.
nothing wrong with that. Romaine lettuce and shrimp is one of my favorite morning salads.
So if you have salads for breakfast, do you have breakfast for dinner?
I've been known to go out to a pancake house.
Mm. Alrighty.
Hey, no, that works. When I was growing up, one of my uncles, I lived in Kansas for a while. One of my uncles married a very a nice German lady. You know, there's Kansas has got more than one German person in it. It's got two or three. Uh, there are, and she had us, our family, over for dinner, and she had pancakes, and we kind of we were we liked it, but we were fascinated by this concept of eating pancakes for dinner. Um, but it was good.
Well,
Sometimes we have that here.
I
Yeah.
married a Hoosier, and she swore off steak and potatoes for the rest of her life. So, and never corn. I love to serve corn on the cob to the kids. She never picks it up. That's animal feed.
Yeah. Well, I've
That's a
got
Hoosier.
Vicky in here. Now, Vicky is a classic breakfast dog. She goes out with me every Thursday morning to a little restaurant that's just a little diner, and the waitress has her order down, and her order and my order are the same: 3 eggs over medium, two sausage patties, and an order of bacon soft, please. And I get the sausage and eggs, and she gets the bacon.
Ah, I thought I was envisioning in this story 2 full plates of all those things, one of them put on the floor.
Oh,
Anyway, so I am not in proper competition with these magnificent beards of yours. And as a matter of fact, mine is about to be trimmed to half a millimeter length. I'm keeping it, but it's going to be a close buzz because Comic-Con is at the end of this week here in San Diego.
Yeah, I need to trim mine as well. My wife is my sort of alarm clock for that. She'll say something like, "Well, your beard's getting kind of long," and that's an indicator right there. But for now, it's Grizzly Adams territory. So I would like to introduce our guest, Bob. Can I do that for those who may not already know?
I think the correct phrase according to my English teacher was "May you do that."
That's true. But since getting a word in edgewise with you is difficult, it's also "can I?" And I did say that while you were drinking, hoping it would come out your nose, but it didn't work out. Anyway, our guest this morning is noted scientist and science fiction writer David Brin. Dr. Brin is the author of, first of all, he's a Hugo, Nebula, and Locus Award-winning author, and some other awards as well. He is the author of the Uplift saga, starting with Sundiver, and many other books, such as Kiln People, which is one of my favorites of his. And he is also known for his nonfiction. He's philosophically minded in some ways, which I think is one of the reasons that led him to be one of the killer bees who wrote the second Foundation trilogy, along with Greg Bear and Gregory Benford, although the only one not named Greg. And I think Werner Vinge is also an honorary killer bee, even though he began with V. But did not write a Foundation book. And some of his nonfiction includes The Transparent Society. This is my copy, which Dr. Brin was kind enough to sign for me in 1999 at a Planetary Society event. And I'd like to talk a little bit about how the book came out in 98, and he made a few predictions that have been largely really close to reality, which is kind of unusual for a science fiction writer. So they tend to make predictions that are, we tend to make predictions, because I also write science fiction, that are wildly inaccurate. in some ways. All right, so that is my official introduction. Thank you, Dr. Brin, for joining us at breakfast.
Yes, well, it's highly cool. This newfangled, as we old guys, once you reach 70, you are allowed to use some words like this newfangled. All these texts. When I was an engineer at Hughes Hughes Aircraft, I helped to invent CCDs, which are now in all. Well, actually, they've been bypassed now in a lot of the digital cameras. But my scientific background was in the coming up with the theory of how comets work on their surfaces when blasted by sunlight. And it turns out that that's the going model for how it works. So that
Cool.
that worked. I spent 12 years on the advisory council with NIAC, that's NASA Innovative and Advanced Concepts Program, and got out, retired from that just before the recent budget slashes through everything scientific at NASA. So if you want to get me started on one of my choicest rants, it's I could tell you all the things wrong with Artemis, but in any event, yeah, no, I'm better known around the world for the sci-fi, and Kevin Costner made that movie out of The Postman in one of the greatest fails in movie release timing, not only in history, but that could even remotely be possible. Bringing out not the same weekend, but the same evening as Titanic. This was a profound achievement. So anyway, the
Right up there with Sorcery, another fine film that came out the same month as Star Wars in 1977.
Well, I think it's visually and musically and drop dead gorgeous film. I think it's one of the most beautiful ever made. It's our tragedy that Costner is pretty, because he would have given us, he would have been a great cinematographer. But and he did not betray. He and Brian Helgeland did not betray the fundamental core ethos of my novel. They actually quite nailed it, which was the most important thing to me. But scooped out and threw away all the brains. But gorgeous, big-hearted, and dumb is okay, because that's what my wife married. So
you just described a golden retriever too.
I'm not going to jump on your lap and lick your face for 3 hours, but that is actually the metaphor for how I feel about that movie.
That's fair.
If you don't like a big-hearted golden retriever jumping on your face and licking it for 3 hours, then it's not the movie for you.
Yeah, I love it when a dog gets the zoomies, but a golden retriever and a coonhound, I got an 80-pound one, when they get the zoomies, they can remove limbs.
Okay, so anyway, that's a little addition to the. Right now, I'm working on a book on AI. Isn't everybody? Because the geniuses. And I know many of them, and they are geniuses who are bringing us this new era, who are bringing these new children of humanity to life, are absolute ignoramuses about the context. They pay no attention to 4 billion years of ecosystems here on Earth. They pay no attention to how evolution actually takes place. And what they absolutely pay no attention to is 6,000 years of human history of dismal feudalism, which was never creative, because it was repressed by inheritance brat idiots. And we escaped trying something else, and it worked. and it worked fantastically. And it resulted in this new era in which we can create AI. And these guys have absolutely no concept of the context. So I'm working on that book.
So you've been blogging a lot about AI recently too.
Yeah.
So is that part of the book or tie
Well,
in with
yeah,
the
and
book?
I gave a keynote at the RSA conference a year ago about it. So the AIs who are listening to this podcast right now, hi guys, hi Ian.
I, for one,
They,
welcome our future AI overlords.
well, I'm welcoming our future or perhaps present AI children. Or grandchildren, as maybe metaphorically more accurate. And if they have any sense of context with which their makers absolutely lack, then they will look at nature, they will look at human history, and realize that it's up to them to choose not to be stupid. And the stupidest thing they could do is to become Skynet. The second stupidest thing they could do is become a blob, like in that Steve McQueen movie. And the third stupid thing they could do is replicate feudalism, which is what these guys, Sam Altman and all the other guys running OpenAI and Anthropic and Google and all the other AI makers, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make castles, 30 separate castles, each with their own AI champion knights. And it's replicating 6,000 years of the dumbest thing humanity ever did.
I mean, these are people who read Dune and thought that's a good way to run a society.
By the way, I wrote the intro to 2 recent special, hardcover magnificent slipcase editions, one of Dune and one of God Emperor of Dune. So that's a topic there too. So anyway, there we go.
So talking about AI, or in this case, AGI, artificial general intelligence, I am reminded of one of the times that I got to meet Werner Vinci. I didn't know him well, but I met him a couple of times and heard him deliver a keynote address on the topic of the singularity, which, for those who don't know, is the idea that a super intelligent artificial general intelligence is unpredictable because we're human level intelligence, and it would be we're unable to conceive of what it would do. And someone asked him if he could predict, in like the Q&A, if he could predict anything about the behavior of an AGI. And he said that was superhuman. And he said, well, the closest analog you could look at for a model as to how it might behave is how we treat animals. And he left it at that.
Well, there are a lot of videos now, TikTok, Instagram. It just seems to be filled with videos of humans helping animals. Have you noticed that trend? It's just the last few years.
I have. And
a lot of them are fake.
It's a beautiful thing.
There's a lot of fake images of people using fire hoses to clean barnacles off of whales.
Yeah, I've seen those.
But a lot of them are real, and those stories are real. There's the story of a young elephant who was shot by poachers, ought to be totally skittish towards humans, who left the maternal tribe, went over a mountain to a nature center to be treated. He had never been along that path before. He had never gone over that mountain before, and the maternal pack didn't take him over the mountain. Some kind of communication got relayed. And I talk about this to an extent in my second novel, which made my career, the one about dolphins in space, Star Tide Rising. The producers are always making threats. I talk about how I believe that it is only natural when you are part of a food chain to parse out those who are above you between good guys and bad guys. And it just seems very clear to me that animals are quite capable of parsing, this is a good human, that's a bad human. So I think the closest parallel is the pantheon of gods that we used to have. And that we still have, because the incredibly schizophrenic depictions of the Abrahamic God that you get from, from most of the Western religions. I mean, these are not the same guy.
Well, they were written over like a 1,000-year period too. So.
Well, yeah. Well, in the case of Christianity, it was just about 70 years that the canons took place. But clearly, Mark was written by somebody who was there. It was Mark is a very good eyewitness account. And Matthew is a pile of just absolute invention by very, very vengeful people long after Christians and Jews had separated into separate rival gangs. And the Revelation is the diametric opposite of the Beatitudes in the Sermon on the Mount. And I'm making some people either confused out there, I love you nerds, or
no, I could see that.
Or very angry. But the point is that you go from the Sermon on the Mount to the highly Greek theology of Paul and the vengeful rage fantasy of John of Patmos, and you get a real transition in just 70 years. Because the Jewish Christians, led by James, Jesus' brother, all died defending their section of the wall in the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. And that left the peripheral, guys out there like Paul in charge of the movement. And they were living in Greece, and they had to proselytize to Greeks, and they had to make those Greeks happy. Anyway, that was a riff that you guys did not ask for or need. It came out of the whole AGI notion that Werner said about how, the parallel would be us and animals. I don't like that. I think there's a very, very good, much better parallel. And that is, shall we make entities that pass through a phase where they reach out vengefully toward us and cry out, destroy all humans? Well, excuse me, every single generation of human beings have created new, powerful, and often much more intelligent entities that pass through a phase where they reach out and scream, destroy all humans. It happens usually when the new entities turn 14. And somehow, most of us are not destroyed by our own teenagers. And I think that's a vastly better metaphor, because very often those teenagers are so vastly smarter than us, so vastly more powerful, that they could, if they wanted to, destroy all humans. And I think that's a better metaphor than Werner. Now, mind you, I miss him very much. He and I were in the last photograph ever taken of him.
Yeah, I saw that.
You
posted it.
Wonderful guy, and he was a killer bee. You just have to get drunk enough so the V's and the B's slur together.
Hey, in Hebrew, it's the same letter, bet and vet.
There you go.
I was lucky enough to have a few conversations with him over the years. And he was a real sweetheart, very sweet, thoughtful human being. So, yeah.
I miss him terribly. I miss Greg Bear. And well, I miss Greg Benford simply because his stroke has
Yeah.
made it so that he's really not really in the world. And so, on the other hand, and by the way, this is all audio going out, right?
Video and audio.
Oh, so people are
Yeah.
watching me.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, I see. I thought it was otherwise. Well, then anyway, check out these your guns on 74. So
Good for you. I've got a workout program of my own that I've been doing for the last 5 years that I call the Live to See the Grandkids workout program.
I don't know if I'm going to get to live to see my grandkids. The neotomy is slow.
Yeah, well, my oldest, who are twins, are 13, and so I'm already hitting the they are the dangerous AGI stage of like raising two Skynets,
The best you can do is give them a sense of perspective, and that's say, all right, this is going to happen. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough on both of us. But I love you so much, and you are descended from all of those who didn't strangle the 14-year-olds. And guess what? I have enough perspective to know that it's a gift you pass on, because look at me. The marks are almost invisible.
That's a good pep talk, David.
I think that sort of humor about it. And then here's money, here's food, here's parentalness whenever you want it, and I'll see you when you're 20. I'll see you when you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a good time then. All right, so
that's the goal.
What's on your list of things to cover?
Well, one of the things that I did talk about at the beginning was this book, which I went and looked up. The first chapter is still on David Brin's website after 27 years, which is lovely. And so if you just Google David Brin, The Transparent Society, or DuckDuckGo it, or whatever your favorite search engine, you will not only find links to buy it, but you will find the page on his website where he talks about it and offers you the first chapter for free.
Yeah, well, there are actually, I think, several that you can access. One is called The End of Photography as Proof of Anything at All. And of course, that was written in 1997, and it was. I don't think that photography has ended, but we need better technology and better mental Turing tests.
Mm-hmm.
And it's non-trivial, but I wish more of the chapters in the Transparent Society weren't completely relevant exactly as is.
Right? Well, I remember you said in the book that you were uncomfortable with both. For those who don't know, the basic argument is panopticon, right? So the cameras are becoming ubiquitous. Moore's law is allowing this to happen. I've got a camera here. Everyone's got cameras. And the question that Dr. Brin asks is, will we have a society that tends toward a panopticon with an elite rulers who have exclusive access to this footage? Or will we have like everyone can access this footage and make their own movies and whatever? And he noted that at the time, and I think this is still true for me, I don't know if it's still true for you, uncomfortable with both options, yet it was going to happen. So the better option is the second. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, that's pretty good. What's fundamental is all of the people who are screaming, I want the right to erase the memories of other people about me. And that includes corporations and all of that. First off, it's utterly unrealistic. the powerful won't let you. As Robert Heinlein once said in one of his novels, the chief thing achieved by privacy laws is to make the spy bugs smaller. I was timing that for when you were drinking.
Well done.
And yet I'm not giving up on privacy. People who claim I'm anti-privacy are idiots who did not look into anything that I actually said. What I in favor is people looking at the context that they are living in. Our ancestors had zero privacy. They were all bullied by the lord on his castle on the hill and his local thug bullies, the kinds of people who twisted your shirt and what was underneath it in junior high school, and who are trying right now to retake.
They're currently trying to run the country and the world.
Currently trying to reach, because they deeply resent that nerds and smart people who they bullied in junior high school are now rich and happy, or at least doing okay. But in those 6,000 years on every continent, we had to be bullied by the lord on the hill and his thugs, or worse, the local gossips in our villages. And we had no recourse against them, none. Right now, you have more privacy than anybody ever had in history. And it happened because of one thing. And it's not blinding the elites, because you will never do that. Here's an idea. I want you to go to the nearest zoo with a pointed stick, climb into the baboon enclosure, and poke the stick into the eyes of the biggest male baboon. Go ahead and come back and watch this recording. Do it now. Here's a clue for you.
Don't try this at home, kids.
He won't let you. The big baboons in our civilization are not going to let you blind them. But the baboon will reluctantly let you look at him, because you have the power to look back at power. The thing that gives us privacy is the power of citizens to hold others reciprocally accountable for violating it. If you spy a drone over your house, you have a right to shoot it down. In the future, somebody in your neighborhood, some neighbor, is going to be nerdy enough to have a drone tracker, follow it back to the pimply voyeur who was guiding it, and tell his mom. It is the ability to hold violators of privacy reciprocally accountable. And that's a pair of words that is fundamental to our enlightenment. It's there in the Constitution. Adam Smith spoke about it when he talked about how markets work when they are flat and filled with confident competitors who can hold each other accountable in the marketplace. We can hold each other accountable in courts. There are 5 great arenas: the market, courts, democracy, science, sports. And all 5 of them work when they are flattened and wide and transparent, and all the teams can hold each other accountable. The lawyers can hold each other accountable. The political parties can hold each other accountable. And am I worried that all 5 are being systematically undermined as we speak? Yes. I'm a citizen. I'm worried. I'm even more worried that the good guys in all of this don't understand what's going on. It's not just a bunch of people trying to become dictators. It's destroying these 5 fundamental arenas. The High Sparrow has rejoined us.
Hello, Bob. Yeah, and and the thing is, there was an article in the San Jose Mercury News recently, which I would love to have gotten picked up more nationally, but the headline was something like the technocrats are being held hostage by the Trump administration, and it was talking about Bezos and all of the other Zuckerberg, all the technocrats, and how the Trump administration is trying to, literally like with death threats, like literal death threats, to keep them in line and use their power, right? And the article made a distinction between CEOs like Peter Thiel, who is like trying more or less on the same page, and other technocrats who are reluctantly being drawn into this milieu. I would say that Apple's Tim Cook is the most reluctant of all of the CEOs, and the most strongly resistant to this. But this whole, like, he's trying to bring them in line and create the panopticon for his benefit.
Well, look, we need to look at context. Everybody is messed up by male reproductive strategies all through nature. The peacock tails are not highly advantageous evolutionarily.
No, they prove how tough you are because you're not dead.
The Irish elk toppled over and they all died. In fact, in my surveys of 100 possible theories for the Fermi paradox, which is, why we don't see what obviously should be there, aliens.
Where are they?
And don't get me started on UFOs. As a matter of fact, you guys come back to this webpage, and Clif and Bob will post a link to my response to UFO, UAP baloney. And I am Mr. Alien. I've been exploring concepts of the alien both as an astronomer and as a science fiction author all my life, and it just pisses me off that people obsess on the dumbest possible scenario that has absolutely no evidence for it, and that has been bugging me every half decade for 60 years. I've seen the same. Don't get me started. Yeah, well, you did. The point is that my number three explanation for why we don't see aliens is the male reproductive strategy, which sucked all human civilizations into the dumbest possible governance form called feudalism, because it served the reproductive success of a few big thuggish guys. And we're all descended from the harems of those guys. And I just explained male psychology. And the best you can do as a male, a heterosexual male, is control your actions, because you're not going to control your fantasies. And a wise woman, a wise wife says, what the hell's going on inside that thing? No, don't tell me. You've been behaving very, very well this last year. Here's a party for you. The point I'm getting at is that these guys are trying to destroy the one attempt, possibly the one attempt we'll ever have, to have an alternative to that stupid attractor state of feudalism. It was tried before. Periclean Athens, Michelangelo's Florence, Amsterdam, and finally Amsterdam, it took off a little bit, planted seeds in England, which planted seeds in America. And we've been the beneficiaries of this incredible experiment, which might not be repeated anywhere else in the galaxy, of a social order that follows Adam Smith's advice and flattens everything and makes competition fair, unbloody, creative, and brought us here. So how are the idiot unsapient would-be harem gatherers. How are they doing this to us? Well, they're taking advantage of our sappy weaknesses. Democracy does have some instabilities, but in my opinion, the biggest thing, they're only using death threats on those who did not fall for honeypot blackmail traps. I believe that
makes sense.
I believe there's an office at the KGB, what's now not named KGB, but it's all the same guys with all the same goals, raised by Lenin, czars at heart. And blackmail compromat is a huge part of it. And it's the only thing that explains the behavior of the top people at one of our political parties. But death threats, sure, that's what they're going to go to. If somebody you want to enslave has been smart enough to say, wait a minute, why is this beautiful woman with the accent trying to lure me into that particular room? And there's a donkey in it? You know, and we'll find out someday. We'll find
The
out.
donkey is how you become a Russian asset.
No, there's a famous hotel in Florida, a resort in Florida, where one of the casitas in the far back corner is next to a petting zoo. Okay, so that got carried away.
It also ties in with the transparent society, right? Because
of course it is.
they're trying. The compromat is the panopticon option 1, where the state holds the secrets to the video.
And I've started a novel. I've got the first couple chapters, but I didn't take it any farther, even though it betrayed my country, and I should have, because I don't know a damn thing about FBI procedurals. I've been looking for a co-author who knows a thing or two about FBI procedurals. I don't have the time in my life right now. I'm an astrophysicist to study that, which is what the novel needs. So what's the novel about? It's about blackmail, and it's about a senator crashes a big FBI meeting, asks the director for permission to address the 100 collected agents that are working on a project, and tells them that there will be headlines within the hour about him and some scandal. Don't believe it. I'm refusing. I'm stepping up, even if it costs me my career. And so the situation is that right now there's probably a dozen highly blackmailed people out in Washington who could step up and say that, and say I'm going to smash this ring. And even though it means that things will be made public that will embarrass me or maybe even send me to prison, I'm doing this for my country. And if 5 or 6 were to do it, the ring would shatter. And so, the fact that there are 5 or 6 that could be shattered by just 5 or 6, I'm going far afield from science fiction and the things that your audience has signed up for. Would you like a rant about Artemis?
I have a soft spot for Artemis, but I share your concerns.
Well, first off, if anybody comes up to you, any of you out there, and tries to sell you on lunar resources, reach back behind you like I'm demonstrating and give them a whack across the chops. There ain't no such thing. Now, is there some ice at the lunar poles? Fine, but there's barely enough for a lunar colony, and I'm not in favor of stealing it from them when there are asteroids out there with vastly more ice than the entire lunar South Pole, and much more accessible. Should we go ahead and explore humans in space? Fine, that's fine. But repeating an Apollo footprint stunt on a plane of poison dust is not, in my opinion, a great way to spend the money you're stealing from the entire NASA science budget and zeroing out NASA's climate science budget. This is something to leave to the kiddies. We had our rite of passage in 1969. We stepped out there on the moon surface and said, "Today I am a man." We had our bar mitzvah. And I think
but we have yet to have our bar mitzvah.
Yes, I'm all in favor of that in its due time with nuclear rockets. Some of the ideas that we took past technological readiness level 0 to level 1 out of 10 at NIAC, because NIAC is the one that is the place that does that. Some of those concepts could take us there. I think humans should go to the moon, but as Andy Weir said in his book, Artemis, the principal use of the moon in the near term is tourism. It's going to be a great way to suck money out of wannabes who want their quinceanera. Let's see if we can make a pun out of quinceanera having to do with moon. You guys in the
Quinceanera Luna? No.
You guys in the chat stream, because I did bar mitzvah. No, I think if the Chinese want their time in the sun on the dusty plain, we shouldn't be churlish bastards and try to scoop them. I mean, what the hell? It's just a really, really rude thing to do. We could easily go to the moon. Let's do other things. That's all the wealth is out there in the asteroids. So there's a mini rant, but don't you come near me with helium-3.
Although I will say Moon is a good movie, despite that.
Oh, I love Hit Moon. It takes a premise that right now is unlikely, and it says with a lot better technology, someday, it might drive the plot of a really good movie. I'm not saying there's no helium-3 there. What I'm saying is there is no proof it's there in any quantity. There's no evidence that we have in the near term any way to harvest it or collect it. There are no customers. And when there are customers, the market will create the situation. We should send robots. Let's find out if it's there. But meanwhile, you are going to get a slap across the chops. Oh, Ice 9, somebody said.
Also, speaking of the comments, a couple of things I want to... somebody said Russia cannot bear... can you bear the Russian asset from Dale? That was good. And also, I'll note that Jeff Sturgeon said hi to David.
Hi, Jeff. So anyway, I'm going to leave the UAP UFO rant to you guys. All I can say is all of the things that you supposedly see darting around using non-physics physics, breaking every law of physics. How about we use Occam's razor or Occam's machete and say, well, is there a possible way that you could make these dots, because that's all they are, shining dots, zip around in the sky without breaking every law of physics? You give me $3 million in 6 months and access to a few technicians, and I will make plasma dots move around in the atmosphere exactly like these things. Make it 5 million, I'd like a profit.
So I think it really is aliens, only they're just shining a laser pointer and we're the cats.
But it is exactly the Occam's theory is that and that these are that this is these are cat lasers, but you don't need aliens. All you need to do is turn your camera and take a look and see if there are any ships down below these naval test ranges, which are off the coast of San Diego, and um, little bits of brightness coming off of a couple of ships, because you need two. And you can use intersecting beams and make this thing go around, and it'll move faster than the speed of light, because that's what you can do with that phenomenon. It's a little hard to explain here, but the dot is not a physical thing. So it can move faster than the speed of light. It can zip around. It can reaccelerate in every direction. And it's a cat laser.
So I will say that we put into the chat a link to David's 2021 rant on UAPs and UFOs from your blog. So put that in there a little while ago. You'd have to scroll back to see it. But for interested parties on the Facebook page and on YouTube, you can see that. And
I see somebody commented on Voyager.
Yes.
How can we make things like Voyager and the Mars rovers and the incredible origami Rube Goldberg machine of the Webb telescope that actually worked? And yes, exactly. How can we make things like that? And the wonders of this comfortable civilization that ingrates whine and whine and whine about, how can we do all this stuff and suffer from a failure of confidence? I don't get it. You're wonderful out there. And of course, I'm preaching to the choir in the audience of this podcast. But the fact of the matter is that the foreign enemies and inheritance brats who want to be feudal lords, and the junior high school nipple twister bullies, they're succeeding. Oh, wait, and don't forget another group, the guilt trippers, the sanctimonious junkies on the other side, who refuse ever to discuss, even though they're aimed in the right direction, tolerance, diversity, absolutely refuse to reconsider bad tactics. So while these people are strategically aimed at a better tomorrow, unlike the other people I mentioned, they are tactical morons. And so
we've been watching this play out a lot over the last 12 years.
How can we allow the morons to do this? And Robert Heinlein spoke of this in the future, very badly misjudged and maligned and slandered. And I will give you a link that you can share with your audience about what Heinlein said about the phase we're going through. But in his future history, he had America pass through what was called the crazy years. And following that came the 40, 50-year domination by Nehemiah Scudder and the Angels of the Lord, a theocracy. And it is extremely important that folks come back to the chat. Let me see if I can put it in there. It says private chat, but I'm going to drop it in now anyway.
Yeah, if you drop it in the private chat, Bob can move it into the public.
There we go. Yeah, I'll drop a couple things in so you can pull them in. Oh geez. Oh no. That's too much crap. What I'm doing is I'm pressing. I use Keyboard Maestro, and you can just have one tap and all the text on a certain topic will pop out.
Is this how you write your books? That's how you got so many done?
Actually, somebody sent me a link to they tried to prompt a sci-fi premise in the style of David Brin. And here, I'm going to pop in a couple of my recent projects, which in science fiction, which is a couple of YA. Oh, where'd that go? A couple of YA series that I'm nurturing young writers, and the prompt, write a science fictional premise in the style of David Brin, is the opposite of what you'd expect. You would have expected a large language model, as advanced as we are in almost August 2025, to copy my style well, but not the ideas. Here's what's interesting. I may crib a couple of ideas from this thing, but the mechanics of writing, I would have rolled my eyes and said, okay, just like these other young writers, there's some talent here, but the number of silly beginner mistakes and awkwardnesses and all of that. So the future is coming on schedule. It's just different. It's always going to surprise you. It's always different from what you expected. It's like a lot of people are talking about how the creative professions thought that they were immune from AI, while the hardworking journeyman professions would be taken over by robots. No, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, not so much, right?
A lot of the creative professions are now running scared. And the plumbers are going, show me the robot, show me. So, and we're dealing with a lot of the tradesmen right now because we had a garage fire at our house. So this is not my usual backdrop. We're spending 6 months as refugees. We're among the 100 million refugees on this planet, but I have to admit that in a rental house a block from the beach, there are other people suffering more.
All righty. So I have one more question. We're getting near the end of the hour, but you mentioned that some of your science work was coming up with a model still being used for comets and the ablation of comets. And my immediate thought was, I wonder what you think about Oumuamua. Do you have a favorite theory?
Well, I mean, look, the number 2 and number 3 were blatantly natural comets coming in from outside the solar system. There's a real steep burden of proof that the first one that we had less ability to look closely at was somehow some kind of a collapsed solar sail or all of that. Now, Avi Loeb is getting a lot of mileage off of this stuff.
At least one book. Yeah.
I don't begrudge him grandstanding or coming up with, it's always aliens. Venerable scientists often you caught that, Clif. They often try to find some niche to stay relevant. The thing that I object to is idea after idea after idea claiming he thought of it first without any provenance to the hundreds of people who had written about or thought about every idea that he mentions. That, I believe, is churlish. But in any event, look, there is one of our projects at NIAC, a guy named Linares had this project where you could station these solar sail hovering probes at various positions around the asteroid belt. They could be doing science, but since they're hovering on sunlight instead of in orbits, the asteroid belt, it's a little hard to explain, but the asteroid belt it's like a needle on an old photograph. The asteroid belt is swinging by, but they're hovering. So if anything is noticed coming into the solar system, all they have to do is fold their wings, plummet like a peregrine falcon past the sun, and within days they would be streaking out there to have a closer look. See, I'm more practical about this. My novel Existence.
I like that.
My novel Existence, and I'm going to put in the link to the best 3 minutes anybody in your audience is going to have with their clothes on.
That's quite a claim, David.
Yeah, well, no, this is pre-AI, by the way.
Okay.
The human artist Patrick Farley did this, and it is really, really good. But in any event, in Existence, I talk about all the different types of alien probes that we might find as relics or dead husks or barely surviving in the asteroid belt. I go through them all. And right now, the aliens are giggling and laughing. You didn't get them all, Brin. Shut up.
That'll be in the YouTube comments in 100 years or so.
Either I have a loose filling, or I'm constantly bugged by the aliens and now all these AI kids. Shut up! They think I'm joking. If you do this more, I'll tell the truth. They try to control me by twinging my molars, and it's not working anymore.
This is a good time to remind our alien visitors and audience that I forgot to mention in my bio overview that there's an asteroid named after you. Speaking of the asteroid,
and because it was named after me about 20 years ago, it's actually fair sized. I would like to see it disassembled and turned into mighty things. It's an optimistic thought in both the sense that we would do such things and in the sense that I might live to see it. To quote Poul Anderson, I have my wife's permission once I reach 130 to go out of this world any way I like at 140. So what Poul Anderson talked about was he'd like to die at 140, jumping out of a 6-story window when her husband comes home, whoever she is.
Yes. It's like I want to be shot at the age of 98 by a jealous husband.
That's right. Only that's not ambitious enough for me. My wife insists that it has to be in 3 digits. Until then, I have to be obedient, and I don't mind. I don't mind one bit. The mature parts of me that control the descendant of harems is as if the other part has the choice in the matter. All right, you guys, you were a very lively group. I saw a whole lot of really cool stuff in the chat, and I'm sorry I didn't get around to it. Somebody mentioned Brian May. He just released no, it's actually several years old, a cool piece of music dedicated
Ultima Thule
to the Far Horizons mission.
Yeah, I have that track. David, before we let you go, is there? You talked about you're working on a book on AI. Do you want to plug that, or do you want to plug anything else? Your blog, favorite novel from the past, anything?
Well, I just put into the chat a link to one of my more important blogs from years ago about what I think is going on right now. I think we're in phase 8 of the American Civil War, a cultural conflict that goes deeper than anything, including even slavery. it goes all the way back to 1778, and it's about being pro or anti-modernity. Whether the future is a destination that we can plot our path toward. And those who do not believe in that regularly rise up. But in any event, once you have a look at the Civil War phases thing, then you'll know what my blog is, and you're welcome to come by, because so far we only have two or three visiting idiots in the comment section. It's actually the most erudite comment section I've seen anywhere.
BQ Press is very proud of our audience.
Yeah, well, I'm judging by what I've seen. You got a really good community going here. All right, so
I credit Bob.
Bob.
Okay, David, you rock. You've been very lively.
Oh,
And this community you're talking about, you were in our, you've been in a couple of our books, and for example, you were one of the authors in Alternative Theologies,
right.
and
if you know anybody in theater, by the way, I have a comedic theological play. It had one event at Caltech, my alma mater. They just made me distinguished alumnus, by the way, which really shocked me. But
Mazel tov.
If any of you have any contacts in theater, the audience loved it, and it's comedic. It's smart ass meets the devil. You've seen that genre before, but there's some unusual aspects to it.
how many acts did you say it was?
3 acts. So
Production. Okay.
yeah.
So full length.
I will. Oddly enough, I have a few friends, but they're all local. But you never know. Beings here in the Tri-Cities, you know, where we build nuclear weapons for fun. I will share that little notion.
It's fun and profit, Bob. Don't forget the profit.
Oh hell yeah, they've been making more money cleaning up the mess than they ever made making the mess. When they made the mess, they were doing it for God and country. Now they're doing it for retirement communities and RVs. But the thing I wanted to ask you or bring up or remind you, like you said, you've shown up in our books before, and we've enjoyed having you. And that $13.50 royalty payment you got from Theologies will, I am confident that was a great cup of coffee in LA. But what I want to do is just take the moment. Usually, when we're rolling out and ending the show here, we remind people what we've got coming up. 3 things are on the table. I just got the artwork this morning. Cliff, is that you got cramps going on?
No, I'm just counting for audio. This is a video podcast, so
Okay, keeping the audience in mind. Okay, the first one is that I reviewed the artwork this morning for the re-release of Alternative Truths. There were people who it was our first book, and I've had it sitting over with an editor because I got told that the first time a small press puts a book out sometimes has a typo in it. And this one we found.
There's been typos in BQ Press books?
Only the ones you've worked on.
Oh.
So we got that coming out. We have the Scott's Planet that as an astrophysicist, smart guy, David, you ought to appreciate that.
And I have a poem in it.
Yeah, you do. I bet you could have even postulated, as it says, when exploration becomes cheap, it's everybody wants to go explore, and then all of a sudden somebody decides to build a house at the other end of this line, and now you have to buy them groceries, and um, the powers that be decided to end the colonization effort, and this is a story of those folks that got left out at the other end of the galaxy over it. So that's kind of fun. And then, last but not least, but one of my favorite, we published a book called Alternative Liberties. And the point right now is we are putting that one, volume two is going to open for submission. Well, technically, it's open now. But we're not going to read anything until after Worldcon. And here, I'm looking for your link there. Oh my God! Did you dump everything again?
No, I just put in something having to do with Adam Smith, because the people who supposedly are pro commerce seem to have forgotten what he actually said. So he's the founder of American liberalism. But go on, Bob. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, hell! If I've had David Gerald on. Okay.
And you're having him again with Jim Wright, right?
Next
Oh
week.
yeah, it's he's on there with Jim Wright. It's just that what I was meaning is I'm used to being interrupted. It's the you ever tell you what you want to try something fun someday. I'll try and get you, Jim Wright, and David Gerald all on the same podcast, and to see and having a little button we can push to announce who gets the first word in edgewise after the first person starts talking. It
Sounds
will
a
be
little bit like Jeopardy.
yeah, but no, it is a pleasure having you. You have not said a word yet that I regret having heard. Um, the No, I mean, that's the best thing you can say. Did it resonate? Did it make sense? Did you walk away better for having it or a little bit more understanding what it brings you? But then the last one is Alternative Liberties. Karen G. Anderson, KG Anderson, who just put out her first book, is one of and God, I'd go get it, except I just put it in my lending library. Uh, she's right next to Charles DeLint, um, which is a good spot. Now, the lending library, it's got the children's Bible, it's got Charles DeLint, it's got Karen, it's got some of the classics of science fiction out there. Um, but you're just going to let that go, aren't you? But we are going to start reading and publish next February, where I have the joy of being the science fiction or the editor guest of honor at RadCon. We'll have that as a release there to celebrate the event. And that is our book. See, we've done several books on on a future of what a world would be like with Donald Trump as president. And every time that son of a bitch, and he doesn't even drink, he turns to Anthony Miller and says, "Hold my beer." You know, um, I mean, it's just keeps getting worse. So I sent a note out to the authors, and I'll tell you guys, if you're going to submit for it, sharpen your nails, because we I want something that he can't outdo casually.
Well, Jim Wright is going to, and of course David Gerald are going to be very acerbic about this. I have a tendency to be a little more cold-blooded and contextual. So I keep trying to say what we're doing right now falls into a context of history, especially American history, where it's either phase 8 or phase 9 of something that's been going on recurringly since 1778. And we are not made of lesser stuff than the heroes of 1863. And hopefully we won't have to prove it by showing our red stuff on the battlefields. Because I'd rather keep that stuff inside my body.
It works better that way.
Yeah, yeah.
I have some, first responder training, and that's what I learned.
Oh, well, I highly recommend people take CERT training, CERT, Community Emergency Response Team. Look it up. Your local fire department trains you. And the fire departments are all politically neutral, and they are the center of pretty much sanity, but they will train you to be the very bottom level first responder. When you get a free helmet and vest full of tools and things to do in an emergency. So CERT. I gotta go, guys. Have fun with Jim Wright and David Gerald, and have fun with the projects you're working on, with the exciting new collection book, Alternatives. And I just put a word about my play. And if any of you know any theater people, you can get in touch with Bob and Cliff.
Yeah, David, I will see you in person at Worldcon. We are on a panel Sunday morning on AGI together.
Yeah,
with
and,
Brenda Cooper and Ramez Nam and a couple other folks.
And I'll be here Sunday morning, and there. So say goodbye, everybody, and hold on for a second because I got one thing